Dad, I know I promised you I'm gonna give you my first Grammy, but we might have to fight for this one.
She said she wanted to thank everybody for her first Grammy.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love.
There, the day she got signed, everyone was talking about it, and the 6 hours that she spent with him, and the 4 hours that she spent alone with him, with no parental supervision. Her father didn't show up till the next day.
What if I told you some of the music world's most powerful figures, the ones we celebrate and trust with our memories, might be hiding darker truths? A resurfaced clip from 2008 has reignited questions about Jay-Z, not about his business empire, but about unsettling moments with artists like Rihanna. People are now re-examining that night and asking whether his influence and behavior run deeper than anyone thought. Some even compare him unfavorably to Diddy, a claim few would have voiced years ago. Back in 2008, Rihanna had just won her first Grammy for Umbrella and dedicated the moment to her father, Ronald Fenty. As she began to speak, Jay-Z interrupted. She said she wanted to thank everybody for her first Grammy, shifting the focus. Rihanna, clearly taken aback, tried to recover and thank Jay-Z for being part of the record. He then added, referring to himself in third person, she'd like to thank Jigga Man for being the greatest in the world. What began as a heartfelt dedication to her dad turned into an awkward power move from her mentor.
Dad, I know I promised you I'm gonna give you my first Grammy, but we might have to fight for this one.
She said she wanted to thank everybody for her first Grammy.
Anyway, I'd like to thank Jay-Z for being a part of this record with me.
She'd like to thank Jigga Man for being the greatest in the world.
Ellen Reed, Steve Bartles, Tata, Jay Brown, Karen Kwok for finding this amazing record. Tricky, Dream for writing such a beautiful record. Thank you, I love you guys. Mom, Dad, my two brothers, Rory and Rajad. Please wrap up, okay? Barbados, I love you. We got one. Evan Rogers, Carl Sturken, Mark Jordan, Krista, making sure I don't forget anybody. Thank you so much. This means a lot.
That moment altered the tone instantly. What should have been Rihanna's tribute became a spotlight on Jay-Z's ego and need for recognition. At the time, it passed as a celebrity oddity. But after Rihanna's father recently passed, fans revisited the clip and viewed it through a new lens. What once looked like a trivial interruption now feels cold and controlling. Context changed everything, and the scene that once seemed harmless now sits uncomfortably with many viewers.
And you've connected some of the dots when you talked about, Rihanna's father, right? Like, he allowed her to come over there, because we would always think, like, how could a minor be doing these things? And obviously we would never say anything, but you've connected so many unanswered questions and stuff that we would talk about, we were too scared to bring up. It's like, wow, because I didn't think of Rihanna as a human. I thought her as a client. I didn't think of her as a minor. I thought of her as a client and as an artist.
That's what I know in LA, that they had taking her out and taking her to all the parties and clubs. They didn't find out that she was underage until they went to the Rainbow Room one night and she couldn't provide ID. They were told she was 21 when in all actuality, she had just turned 17. You remember when she was in LA, right after Pon the Replay broke, that was around the time where they were moving you out and putting her new handlers in.
Right. That's facts. That was a really
She needed you She needed her original team, and they removed y'all to make sure she had nobody to outcry to.
Right. And then we were almost blacklisted.
Oh no, absolutely blacklisted. They didn't tell you you were blacklisted. It's just the jobs that you used to get easy. All of a sudden there were other people. There was a new direction. There were restaurants you used to eat at that were always sold out. Your table wasn't available. It is the shunning.
Yeah, exactly.
Social shunning. And then when people that you know who you are, start talking about you behind your back in ways that they never did, and all of a sudden their career begins to elevate.
Yeah.
It's social engineering. And the sad thing about it is, every last rapper that you said you over also happens to be a government informant.
Yeah.
Why would you think that you had a chance against these people when everything that they do, the government seems to ignore? It seems like they were untouchable because you didn't know that they had a deal.
Right.
They had permission to act like assholes and never have to be accountable for it, or so the government said, so they get to people like you and people like me and people like Aaliyah, and people like Rihanna, people like Lauryn Hill, and people like Rakim, and people like Nas. You know what I'm speaking. Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing free. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
Yeah, shout out D. Haven. He actually hit us up, wanted to tell this story.
You need to talk to D. Haven.
Yeah, we need to talk to him.
I told you that last year when I put you on the phone with him.
You did.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyoncé, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened. And yet, they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it. Think of the power of that moment. Think about Claudia Jordan right now. Claudia Jordan don't ever mention my mother name. She mentioned it yesterday. Talking about why people are afraid to come forward. You mean like you? You was Diddy girl. Corey was Jay-Z girl.
Online reaction was swift. Some users asked, what kind of control do they exert over these singers? Others wrote, he gives me the creeps. The interaction stopped feeling playful and started feeling possessive, Jay-Z correcting who Rihanna thanked first, live on stage during her biggest night, struck a sour note. With her father gone, people emphasized how meaningful that acceptance speech was to Rihanna, and how unfair it felt that someone would overshadow her grief with a self-referential remark.
She walked into the office and, you know, I heard the record and I was really afraid of the record. It was so big that I thought the record would be bigger than her.
Right.
I thought the record, she would be the Pon de Replay girl.
Forever.
Yeah, but I took the meeting anyway. I said, let me just meet her. And
beautiful
when
girl.
I met her that day, I knew she was a star. Like, just her look, the way she walked into a room and her confidence, and she performs, and I tell her, there's no way out of this office. I signed her that day.
She must be generating a fortune, right?
Yeah, well.
I mean, if you retired tomorrow, you could just run her career and make a ton of dough. Am I correct?
No.
I'm wrong?
No, I have expensive taste.
What would it take for Jay-Z to go down like Diddy did?
I don't know. But I got an idea that Evan Rogers is going to help me figure that out.
And who is Evan?
Evan was the producer who only seemed to work on teeny bopper projects, who discovered Rihanna at 3 a.m. in the morning in a hotel room on the island where she comes from, with no parental supervision. And then she was put on a private plane, a minor, from one country to another, without parental supervision. And she ended up in a boardroom with Mr. Carter, without parental supervision. Y'all got young children. Would you just let your daughter leave and go to a whole other country with some you don't know?
Absolutely not.
Doing talent shows at 3 a.m.
So you're saying that the rumors are true. There are rumors circulating that Rihanna was actually trafficked here. Are you saying that
Starting to sound that way. Because her daddy ain't show up till 24 hours later to pick up a $500,000 check for his daughter. Maybe we should look more into that album, Auntie. That album cover was disturbing. A child bride with a crown over her head and blood smeared on her face. I don't know. How don't people see SOSs anymore? I mean, maybe I'm just crazy.
The Grammy clip is only part of the story. Rihanna once told an anecdote, then framed as amusing, about auditioning for Jay-Z and L.A. Reid in 2005 at age 17. She said they told her there were two ways out of the office: the door with a record deal, or the window, since they were on the 29th floor. She laughed about being held until 3 a.m., calling it flattering at the time. Read today, that scenario reads very differently. A teenager alone with powerful executives late into the night, pressured to sign. Jay-Z and L.A. Reid recounted the episode as a badge of honor. Now many viewers are asking whether it should have been retold so casually, or whether it signaled something much more troubling.
Then he said, I'm with you, and he stormed out of Clive Davis's house, got into his very expensive car, and Rihanna chased after him. She gets in the car and started fighting on him because he embarrassed her for calling her a dick and saying in front of everybody that she gave him the herpes at Clive Davis's house the night before the Grammys. She in the car trying to him up. They're speeding on the Pacific Coast Highway, and you know Pacific Coast Highway, very steep. She could have killed the both of them fighting him while he was trying to just get the from her.
I want to say, because people say you're being crazy, but the reality is I think you were onto something before a lot of us, specifically about Jay-Z. And there are some clips I want to watch with you, particularly one of Rihanna that really freaked me out. This clip, guys, if you haven't seen it, which I hadn't seen it till this morning when I saw this headline, Kim found it for me. Let's watch this clip quickly.
It's crazy
Let's
that you
watch
haven't
Tyra
seen
pushing to get this out of Rihanna, and when it does, man, it made me feel very, very uncomfortable.
Audition. But before I met him, I was so nervous. I was shaking literally. But the moment I walked into the office, the atmosphere was so warm and welcoming.
And you had to sing a cappella for him?
Yes, I had to sing. I sang Upon the Replay. I sang another ballad from the album last time.
So then what did he say to you? He said something to you.
Oh yes, he said, we don't sing songs here, we sing artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there was this sudden feel of relief.
But then he said something about a window and a door or something.
Oh, then he said, he did it homework.
I did a lot of homework on you, Miss Lady.
He said, there are two ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
So you was like, where's the pen? Where's the paper? I'm signing.
Yeah.
The audience is so uncomfortable. Like, I don't know if Tyra was trying to get that on the record, but my God, what Jaguar? He threatened her. This is her own words coming out of her mouth. And she was a kid at that time, correct?
15-year-old girl who had been flown to the United States without parental supervision or a chaperone, brought to a grown man's office in a large corporate Manhattan building. Everybody knew when she flew in. I was there the day she got signed. Everyone was talking about it. And the 6 hours that she spent with him, and the 4 hours that she spent alone with him with no parental supervision. Her father didn't show up till the next day to come and collect the check.
Well, and
this is her life.
The rumors were even beyond that, right? That Jay-Z was cheating on Beyonce with her when she was 17 is what a lot of this came out through a publicist who later then
had
to
spoken
apologize.
To my friend Jonathan Hay? You should talk to Jonathan.
Please.
Because Jonathan was there. He was right there working with Rihanna. And it was right when they started crafting her to be seen as a brand and commodity only and not a person. And when I talk to Jonathan now, just to hear him when he thinks of his teenage daughters, he was like, Rihanna was the same age my girls are now. I couldn't imagine putting my daughters through what we put her through. And then the next thing you know, she was removed from that first team from Upon the Replay and replaced with all new handlers and kept sheltered in Los Angeles, where she was going out to parties and partying at 15, 16, 17 years old, hanging out at the Rainbow Room, hanging out. Yeah, like it was one of my friends who found out she was 17 when everyone thought she was 21. And he was like, yo, why do y'all got me carrying this girl around? And she's, oh, it's cool, it's cool.